Hello friends. So, formalism, we have seen the following points. The key word is Russian word Ostraniny. Ostraniny. Maybe it is pronounced like that, isn't it? Ostraniny. Ostraniny. That is defamiliarization. Defamiliarization. We saw the history of defamiliarization through, let's say from Aristotle up to James Joyce, isn't it? And James Joyce, we saw that this is a smithy of Mysore, reality of life, reality of experience forged in the smithy of Mysore. The raw material is experience and it is real. But when it passes through the smithy of Mysore, what happens is it gets transformed. It becomes something totally new, and that is making new, making strange. That is Ostraniny or defamiliarization. And then we saw fabula and sujet and literariness of the language. We saw that these are the two things that help to defamiliarize ordinary situations. Fabula and sujet, that means what and how. What is fabula and sujet is how. How they are fused together. And what is the difference between the use of language in literature and also in other areas of life, like journalism, then arguing a case in the court, or a medical lecture, or a political speech, and so on. And again we saw autonomy of the text and the autonomy of the critical discourse. Means it is independent of outside forces and influences. And the fourth point was literary and critical studies should be scientific. So the aim is to make it's a scientific study with a method, a new method, a scientific method. So it's a fifth point that we saw so far, I am just summarizing this point, aesthetic function of language. It's not a communicative function of language, aesthetic function of language. Means making things strange and beautiful. That's what James Joyce said now. The object of the artist is to make things beautiful. And then another new concept that we saw is that a work of literature is a verbal art, more than content. What is important is the way the art, the language has been used. Understand? And again we saw a defamiliarization. That is, Jacobson says about organized violence committed on the language, isn't it? Another expression is artness of art. Another expression is that literary linguistics. So we have got diachronic linguistics, synchronic linguistics, and now there's a new way of approaching the study of language called literary linguistics. Of course, this is my coinage, literary linguistics. It may not be, as I told you, diachronic linguistics, synchronic linguistics, so literary means studying the use of language in literature. And T.S. Eliot, it is right on the inarticulate. And Walter Pater and so on, it is art for art's sake. And this, for James Joyce, it is forging the smithy. For Wordsworth, it is vivid sensation. And for Aristotle, it is embellished with each kind of aesthetic ornaments. Embellished with language, embellished with each kind of aesthetic ornaments. All these things, they explain one or the other way, or they carry the meaning of defamiliarization. Again, you find Longinus, a certain artifice in the treatment of figures. A certain artifice. certain artifice, artific. And for Philip Sidney it is nature is barren, but artist is golden. Make it golden. We have seen this thing, I'm just summarizing. And then you find that the Coleridge, this eternal act of creation in the finite mind. Eternal act of creation, that is already done by God. Now that created things you are recreating in the mind of the artist. The finite mind. Finite mind means humans. And Shelley says, as existing in the mind of the creator. So you present, an artist presents, his presentation is such that it is as things exist in the mind of the creator. That means pure and so attractive. That's the thing. So these are the points that we have seen. Understand? And then I think that I would today sum up the whole thing, say by points given to us in Boris Asian-born bombs, Aiken-born or Asian-born, AICHENBAUMS, a co-founder of the Society for the Study of Poetic Language, OPIAS, with the Shklovsky, Victor Shklovsky, co-founder. He wrote an essay, 1926 essay, an overview of the formalist method. That's what I have written here, so that things will become clear. I need not reinterpret it or explain it in my own words. I think it will be better in the words of Asian Bombs himself. Aiken bomb or Asian bombs. Yes. Shklov, so it must be Russian now, so it is Asian, Boris Asian bombs. I think that's better, I think, isn't it? Yes. I looked up the phonetic dictionary, but I didn't find the correct pronunciation there, the phonetic scripts. That's why either Asian bomb or Aiken bomb. So it's better to keep the Asian bomb, because after all these Russian names, they have Shusky, like that. No, it is, isn't it? Yes. Brezhnev, Brezhnev. So such names, no. For example, you have got this Teninov, isn't it? Yes. So such kind of, I think it's more musical. So better keep it Asian now. Or if you have any knowledge about the correct pronunciation of this name, I think you can share it with me. You are always welcome. So therefore, I have a formalism. Boris Asian Bombs, 1926 essay, the theory of formal method, an overview of formalist method. So I think that if we together read it with the points that we have already discussed, things will be clear. There are 5 points he has given us in that essay. One is, the aim is to produce a science of literature that would be both independent and factual. So we have already seen this, that is, work of art is independent of biography of the author, intention of the author, affective fallacy, how it affects the reader, sociology, culture, then ideology, or psychology, or psychoanalysis, none of these things. So it is independent of the author, and also it is author's biography, and it is also independent of all the other culture and things like that. So that's what it means. So the aim is the formalist aim is to produce a science of literature. If science is influenced by many things, then it cannot be science, scientific facts. It will be what we can say, and there will be influence of other factors now. See, for example, 6 plus 4 is 10. If somebody say sociology, say if there is influence of sociology on that, it will be some days 11 or it will be 9 like that. In that way, you would consider it. So aim is to produce a science of literature that would be both independent and factual. So that is science. Science is independent and factual. So raise it to that level. Second is, literature is made of language, and so linguistics is a foundational element of the science of literature. So literature is made of language. The stuff with which literature is made. For example, a marble statue is made, the stuff is marble. Isn't it? Or it is a vegetable stew, it is vegetables, that's the stuff. Like that. Literature is made of language. So what we said just now is, there should be literary linguistics. Not only diachronic and synchronic, but literary linguistics. As I told you, it is my coinage, so if you don't accept it, you can reject it. I have no objection. So literature is made of language, and so linguistics is a foundational element of the science of literature. So when you are studying a statue of David, for example, what do you do? See, the foundational element is marble. So you have this quality of marble. See how it has been chiseled, how the artist has made it, and things like this. So the stuff you have to study. Right? Quality of the statue depends on the stuff that you use. Marble also you can see many grades. Many grades, first grade, second grade, third grade, like that. White marble, milky white, see. Then black marble, things like that. Then third is, literature is autonomous from the same point, first point there. Literature is autonomous from external conditions in the sense that literary language is distinct from ordinary uses of language, not least because it is not entirely communicative. All the other uses of language we can say is communicative. See, when I am giving the lecture, it's communicative. When a politician speaks, then it's communication. When the advocate argues, it is communication. So when the journalist writes a report, it is communication. But in literature, when language is used, it is not merely communication. It may be, say, 1% of it is, you can say, aspect of communication. Otherwise, no. So once again, I will read that point. Literature is autonomous. Means all the external circumstances out. From external conditions in the sense that external conditions means background, other, etc. we have already stated. Literary language is distinct from ordinary uses of language. Means literariness, defamiliarization. These are the ideas. Not least because it is not entirely communicated. Literary language is the aim of literary language is not to communicate. It is verbal art, beauty, aesthetic function of language. Making things beautiful by figures, by devices and stanzas and so on. Making things golden. Nature is barren, Sydney says. Artist is golden. Yes. And then fourth point, literature has its own history, a history of innovation in formal structures, and is not determined by external material history. That is, what is the history of literature? Means history of the development of various techniques, various devices used by the artist for defamiliarization. Understand? Not history of external material history. For example, what is the impact of Renaissance? What is the impact of Middle Ages social life on Chaucer's prologue? What is the impact of Renaissance on Faustus? That's not history. How the language used by Chaucer, as we know, Chaucer is the father of English literature and also English language. We have seen that is in my history of language. I have given about 59 lectures on history of the English language, right from origin of language. If you would like to time enough and if it is useful to you, you can go through. That is, you can see that Chaucer laid the foundations of English language by boldly choosing and using the London tongue. And that means the Midland dialect. So in Middle English period, there were already dialects. That is East Midland, West Midland, then Northern and Southern. East Midland and West Midland together equal Midland. Midland dialects is that is spoken in London, the metropolis, the city. So that he chose boldly and made it the standard English language. So that is a different area. I just wanted to tell you that this history of literature is not history of influences of culture and other things like that, or Renaissance. So what are the reason for the development of novel in the 18th century? These things are not important as far as the literature is concerned. Literature's concern is how different devices were used. Devices for embellishment, devices for making things golden, devices for the forging in the smithy of my soul. Understand? Devices for creating what God created and recreate in the finite mind. Understand? So that is the thing. So the mind of the creator is existing in the. So how, in what way that writers use the language? That is the history of literature means. And last is what the work of literature says cannot be separated from how the literary work says it. How and what? That is fabula and sujet and fabula. How is sujet? For example, you have got events. Take any events, any novel you can see. The novel that is, I think, very familiar is Far from the Madding Grounds, Ignoble Stray. Far from the Madding Grounds. You can see there are three persons trying to get the love and favor of just one lady, that is Bathsheba Aberdeen. Then at last, Gabriel marries her. And there is Sergeant Roy, there is Fanny Robin, there is Bold Dude, and they all, and also the rustic character. See, these things are the material. Probably at that time, this was the rural life. In the English rural life that is concentrated, you can say, around Egdon Heath, etc. But see, the point here is, there is chronological narration is not the important thing. But what is important is how it has been done. Not what, but how. How means technique. How means devices. How means trying to make it golden. How means creating the infinite mind of God created and recreate in the finite mind of the person. How means the smithy of my soul. How means embellished with the ornaments. So each kite. That is. Understand? Or how means violence on the language. Violence on the language. Say like, for example, Donne. That is John Donne. He does violence with everything. His poems, you can say, his conceits are really violence. But at the same time, you find that it is very beautiful. Shakespeare also does the same thing. You find morning. You can say this is morning, but Shakespeare is one the morn in russet mantle clad walks over yon high eastern hills. And think of the pain and the tension that is felt by Faustus towards the end of his life. See how it has been expressed, isn't it? Can you ever forget that? So, or when the Faustus saw how he was taken up, or he himself got himself transformed when he saw the image of Helen, was this the face, etc. Or you see that the voyage, for example, by Cleopatra, see, down Cydnus River. So this kind of things, things golden. So that's the thing. So here, what a work of literature says cannot be. Julius Caesar is history, but how it has been told by Shakespeare. See that? Or you can see the other day told in Macbeth is an ancient murder, but how it has been told, how it has been presented, that is the important thing. The story of the ancient murder, probably many people might have read it, but how Shakespeare represented it. How, not what. What is everybody's know? Isn't it? What is everybody? So like the Oedipus, Hamlet, everything. Yes. So here now this says cannot be separated from how the literary work says it. Therefore, the form and structure of a work, far from being decorative wrapping of the content, is in fact an integral part of the content of the work. So the form is the form and structure, isn't it? The structure, the form and structure of a work, that is more important than or it is integral, it is inseparable. Understand that? So I think this is a testament of formalism, a testament. For example, you have got, once again I will read those of you are writing. I have written it in very small letters because I thought when I started writing, I thought that this board will not hold the whole thing. So I was trying to be very miserly, to be very frank. So I will read out that once again. The aim is to produce, formalist aim. The aim is to produce a science of literature that would be both independent and factual. Second, literature is made of language, and so linguistics is a foundational element of the science of literature. Literary linguistics. Yes, literature is autonomous from external conditions in the sense that literary language is distinct from ordinary uses of language, not least because it is not entirely communicative. For this, literature has its own history, a history of innovation in formal structures, means so-shaped, and is not determined by external material history. We have already explained that, further explanation will bore you. What a work of literature says cannot be separated from how the literary work says it. That means what and how, and therefore the form and the structure of a work, far from being decorative wrapping of the content, is in fact an integral part of the content of the work. I think that will sum up the formalist method. Or if you are, now please do not think that these are my words, no, not at all. I have collected this from many notes and also reading some books. So they are not my original result of my original thinking or anything like that. This is the result of my collection. After collecting, of course, as Joey said, I forged it in the smithy of my soul. And then you are getting these, nothing is original, things have been collected and I am presenting it before you. I think that you have got an idea about formalism, and most important, 2 points. One is defamiliarization or ostranening, and second is literariness of language. That is, I think that would sum up the whole thing. That is, defamiliarization. Because all these efforts of the formalists are geared to one thing, defamiliarize, making strange. So that, as we have already seen, say, suppose they say, people die and we do not know after death what will happen, etc. But what Shakespeare says is, what does he say? Says that undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and make us suffer these ills which we have, that to fly to those that we know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all. See that? Understand that? So that is defamiliarization. Or Macbeth, towards the end, life is a tale told when you idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Life is life is useless. There is nothing, there is no stuff in it, we will all die. And that's the ordinary communicative language. So a retreat creature will tell you like this way. See, after all, what is death? We will all die. It's the sound and fury of it. But how does Shakespeare say this? That is the point. That is the point. Understand? That is the trouble we say. So that is the point. That is defamiliarization. Hope you have been following me, and I think that I have summed up all those points which we have been discussing in the last 3 lectures today, and just one more lecture I think we will be able to wind up. I'm sorry. Because there's not only one formalism but many formalisms are there. Now what are the defects of formalism also you have to see. So these are the things that we have to discuss in our next lecture. Till then, bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy you.